Welcome to On the Docket, your front row seat to justice in action. All defendants are innocent until proven guilty.
No, you should come down and watch. It's cool.
A stack of cases that thick.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning.
The last case, the lady was late, and then the matter ended up being more complicated than I originally thought. And so, in fact, I never did figure it out. We had to reset it. This matter was set for 9 a.m. It is a combination of things. The file number is 2311640M, and the defendant is Douglas Diata. Mr. Diata is here. I refer to him as Dr. Diata. He is a chiropractic doctor in Battle Creek. Also here is the complainant's family. The Millers. And we had a series of hearings in this very difficult case. Among other things, the defendant was convicted of having a dog that had bit someone, and I ordered restitution to Cinda Miller in the amount of $5,340. That was to be due within 6 months, which theoretically would have made it due in April of 2024. There were other issues in the case regarding the dog, and it ended up in another dog bite situation, and eventually the dog was put to death under the joy of nobody. And then this issue of restitution remained. So we did it in order to show cause to find out why the restitution had not been paid. In the meantime, we got notice that Dr. Diata had filed bankruptcy, he and his wife, in a bankruptcy filing in the federal court. And I believe it was 11/19 of 2024. Well, I don't know when it was filed. That's the date stamp at the top. It was filed on October 17th. At one time, a bankruptcy did not discharge a restitution order in a criminal case. And even now, it's not clear. All we know is we got a notice, Dr. Diata, that you had filed bankruptcy. We couldn't tell from the notice whether this claim was included in the bankruptcy. We attempted to contact the trustee, and I don't know that we ever actually got an answer to that question. I'll just state that now the current status of the law, as a general rule, the discharge from bankruptcy releases the debtor from all debts under the plan, except for certain debts. However, you're supposed to follow a certain procedure, which I don't think got followed here. There's a court rule, 2.421 of the Michigan Rules of Civil Procedure. If a party to a state court action learns that another party in an action is named as a debtor in a bankruptcy proceeding, the notice of bankruptcy proceeding subrule B has not been filed and served by the debtor must file a notice of the bankruptcy proceeding in the state court, which I think that's been done. Must serve notice on all other parties in the state court. I don't know if that's been done. And it must include the names of the other parties, the name of the court, and other matters. In looking in the Crime Victims' Rights Manual under restitution bankruptcy, and I just quoted that rule, any party to state court action who is named a debtor in a bankruptcy proceeding, Dr. Diata, that's you and your wife, must file a notice of the bankruptcy proceeding in the state court no later than 3 days after becoming subject to a bankruptcy proceeding and serve notice on all other parties. The court that receives the notice that a defendant has an obligation to pay restitution as to declared bankruptcy shall forward a copy of that notice to the prosecuting attorney, which I believe was done. Prosecuting attorney shall then file the notice to the victim at the victim's last known address. And the current status of the law, if a notice is filed, the court may hold in abeyance any further proceeding and may schedule a status conference to consider the administrative disclosure of all administrative closure or all or a portion of the state action. Essentially what that means, this happens in civil cases all the time, that the bankruptcy stays any proceedings in the state court until the bankruptcy proceeding is completed. So, Dr. Diata, who is your attorney assisting you in the bankruptcy case?
Stephen Beard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And that bankruptcy was filed in October?
Correct.
Is it a 7 or a 13?
Chapter 13. So we first got a notice that there had been a bankruptcy. Then we got 2 days ago a filing from Stephen Beard of Acclaim Legal Services notifying of the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And Dr. Diata, is it your position? In fact, I'll put you under oath. You swear, affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right. Was this restitution claim included as part of your bankruptcy?
Yes.
No. All right, as I said, at one time, the law was that a criminal restitution order was outside of the province of the bankruptcy court. I do not believe that's the current state of the law. Although it wasn't actually filed within 3 days of the filing, it was filed by the court on November 19th. The court provided a copy of that to the prosecutor. The prosecutor provided notice to the Millers, and they are here in the background. But I don't believe I have any choice but to stay this proceeding pending the bankruptcy proceeding.
I believe that to be correct, Your Honor. If in fact Dr. Diata is addressing it, it should be part of the plan. But ordinarily, if he filed in October, you're pretty early in the proceeding, and plan's typically not going to be released to the creditors for 3 to 4 months.
someone, either Dr. Diata or Attorney Beard, provided a copy of a stay for bankruptcy. And I don't believe I have any option other than to stay this. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, this will be part of his bankruptcy if the debt is discharged or
Included
within his bankruptcy plan. You'll be notified by the administrator. If it is not, or the bankruptcy is otherwise discharged, we will again review and pursue this collection remedy. In theory, he was supposed to pay this by last April. Perhaps if we had taken action on this earlier, but we were waiting for all the proceedings and appeals regarding the dog. At any rate, the court did order the bankruptcy or order the restitution after the hearing. It is outstanding, but I'm going to stay it pursuant to the bankruptcy that was filed by Dr. Diata and his wife. So, Mr. Diata, we will forward a copy of this to your bankruptcy attorney and to you, and we'll see how things develop in your bankruptcy case. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, I'm sorry. The whole thing is on hold pending rulings by the bankruptcy court. All right, Dr. Diata, anything further?
No.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you, Andrew.
Pitbull,
Akita.
just as bad.
Oh, it's a long story. All right, thank you.
Oh. Ooh, but that's a 7. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Maybe let the judge know that you have a citation to that case. Yeah, it's Kelly. Your Honor, Larry found something, case that addresses that matter, and you may want to at least note that in your file. Larry, you may want to just give the judge the cite there.
So, there's a district court case here in Michigan, federal district court case, where they overruled the bankruptcy court on whether or not a criminal restitution is dischargeable in bankruptcy. And they upheld the U.S. Supreme Court's case finding in Kelly v. Robinson that says it's not. That criminal restitution falls within an exception.
What's the date of that?
Kelly v. Robinson is from the 80s, but this more recent case is from 2016.
I'm not sure that's still, my understanding during my years as prosecutor was that criminal restitution was not dischargeable in
Yeah, and
bankruptcy.
that's what Larry's saying.
According to the Crime Victims' Rights Bench Book and our additional research, it can be stayed by these proceedings, including what we just read from the court rule. So I'm going to stay it, but doesn't mean it goes away.
Yeah, because
All right, we're still on the record and the live feed, but Dr. Diata is not here, so, and we'll take a look at that, or Andrew, you could. But
do you want to give him the actual citation so he can pull it up and read it? Or shepherdize it? Do you kids even know how to shepherdize cases anymore?
all right, well, you're the advocate for the victims. TJ also is representing them, but I'm going to close the live feed.